A big hello and a warm welcome to all of you amazing and beautiful people out there on planet Earth who are on ascension journey and who have somehow found their way energetically to connect with this channel and to connect with the channelings and other information videos and many other things that I share over here. I welcome you all with a lot of love and a lot of gratitude for the universe. Because I'm happy to see that so many people are stepping up. So many people are coming up with the new identities. The identities are waking up on planet Earth, and that is such an amazing thing. And I really do feel that Earth is on ascension, and so are so many people along with Earth. So we are one big family. And I'm also very happy to connect with so many awakened souls. So in this part, we will continue the channeling session. This is part 3 of Divine Masculine gives total attention, complete attention to the Divine Feminine. And this channeling is such that even though I would not have received the channeling, so my soul brother and soul sisters, in this channeling, what is in this part specifically, it's like the Divine Masculine is doing something very important, or he is completely engrossed in something, and suddenly he hears a siren, an ambulance. This is a siren, not the real siren, but this siren is like the thought of Divine Feminine. It is so loud and it is so clear and it is coming in such a consistency that he has to leave everything and think about those thoughts or pay attention to what he is feeling and what is going on inside his heart. Now, an important reason why I mentioned in the previous part that this particular channeling does not depend on how long the twin flame journey has been for you, because if you practically think about the twin flame journey, you have been in this journey ever since you're born on planet Earth. I know a lot of healers won't say this, they might have different thoughts on it, but I'm talking from my experience. Because even the Divine Masculine is sent to planet Earth, or he comes to planet Earth only because he feels there is a dire need to support the twin flame, support the Divine Feminine in her journey. Because Earth is a combination. It is a dual place. It is a place with duality, which means there are dark energies as well as light energies. Everything has a contradiction on planet Earth. And when the Earth was in dark ages, at that point in time, the dark energies were really strong. That's why so much torture took place on this planet. And it was not just the people who suffer, because people are also a part of Mother Earth. We all come out from the womb of Mother Earth. It was Earth that was in pain. And she gave the control because of the time, of how the cycles are for Earth also. So she had no other option but go through those dark ages, go through the pain, the suffering, the inhumanity. The inhumanity was too much. Even though Earth is a dual place, but Earth is also a humanitarian planet, which means that the core values are humanity, is based on humanitarian principles. And human beings are, it's a great thing to be human being, because all ascended masters, they come to planet Earth, they live as a human being, and they also go through the same thing that we all go through, that their memory is taken away. After the age of 7, the memory is completely gone. So whatever programming is done, whatever is given to us between the age of 0 to 7, that is what we have to somehow manage in adulthood and till the end of our life. So it's very important for all of us to find our way back home, to source. Now, why is attention such an important factor? Attention is such an important factor because what we are here to learn is also focused attention, which means live in the present moment. When the thoughts of Divine Feminine comes to Divine Masculine, it's actually the energy that is telling him to become present to his feelings. Because what the Divine Masculine is also doing for so long, he's trying to distract himself from his true emotions, from his true feelings. He's trying to find some sort of logic, some sort of reasoning to run away from the connection. The connection that makes him more present, more authentic, and more real. Trying to distract yourself, even if you're doing something meditative, even if it's an addiction, like some people have the addiction of praying, have the addiction of doing religious activities all throughout the day. That does not mean that they are fearless. That means they probably have more fear and they are trying to distract themselves from those thoughts. So they sit in front of the God's idol, or they go to the temple or to the mosque or to the churches just to somehow feel like, okay, they may be protected, they may be saved. It's not a form of surrender. So what the Divine Masculine also does is he doesn't surrender to those genuine thoughts of love. He doesn't do that. Instead, he says that I'm going to run away from it and I'm going to distract myself, because obviously there is a fear of rejection, fear of trauma, fear of getting hurt or, thrown away, used. All of that is too strong in him. So, when you are a mirror, you have no option but to be like what is being reflected on you. That is what a mirror does. So, when the Divine Feminines think that he is sleeping, he is not awakened, he is not smart enough, he is not good enough, he is stupid, he is not loyal, he is this, he is that, and there's a long list, that's actually being mirrored by him towards you. So the feelings you have for him will be mirrored by him for you. That is the simplest explanation for this. So as long as you have anger in you, because it's anger with love. If it's anger towards him, he will also have anger towards you. He will have love towards you if you have love towards him. But the point is not to have just love towards him. This is the ascension journey. The ascension journey means you bring out the goddess energy in you. You bring out the God energy in you. This journey is the God ascension journey. It's the spiritual ascension journey, awakening of your spirit. And the spirit does not work on the principles of the body. It may have a body, but it is not the body. And for the spirit, there is no such thing as codependency. The spirit is not codependent on anyone or anything. And the same spirit is connected to the highest spirit, which is the supreme spirit. The supreme being, the supreme energy. So just imagine, what is the body trying to do? The body is connected to the past and the present. That's why when you get depressed, you have more thoughts of the past, and when you get anxious, you have worries about the future. But when you are in the present moment, then you will not worry about what has happened in the past. You will make peace with the past, and the ghost of the past will also move on to a higher dimension, to another dimension. It would be released. It will not come to haunt you again and again. This is what all ghosts do. If you all know, what do ghosts do? They are stuck in time, they are stuck in past, and then they keep haunting people around them who have similar frequency or who can catch their vibrations. Which means they also have to be equally depressed or sad or complaining or angry or in regret. So when you get out of these feelings, I'm talking to the Divine Feminine right now, and you come to the present moment. And as I said, this is being specifically channeled for those who are in a long-term separation. It does not mean that you have to be in the journey for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. No. Because we are all in the journey any which way. So it is a long separation, and you have had a bond with this guy, the Twinflame, who is now silent towards you. Being silent does not mean he does not love you. Please remember that. And this is the thinking that you also need to change. The Divine Feminines want to blame the masculine. The channeling is not for those who are blaming, in the blaming and complaining mode. The channeling is for those who have moved on from that place of blame game, of anger, frustration, pointing fingers. These are not those divine feminines. If you are still in that phase of thinking, why is he doing this to me? Why? I am now 40 years old and he's still doing this to me. What am I going to say to my family? What am I going to say to my friends? What will I show to the society? You're not here to show to the society. You're not here to please people. This is why you met the divine masculine, because you're not meant to please other people. That's why you have the differences with the divine masculine. That's why you're born in such a way. That's why you have those templates. If you're going to talk like, people like that, then I'm sorry to say this journey will become more and more long and frustrating for you. And I obviously get those comments too, so I know who those people are. Now, since this attention, this channeling is like trying to tell you that whatever you also put your attention on, that thing grows. So if you are going to put your attention on the negatives, on the bad things, all the problems, then the problems, the bad things, they will always keep growing. Now, this does not mean that you don't do your healing work, because when you do the inner work, when you do the healing work, you come face to face with the actual reason of why the separation has happened. That's why in one of the parts I spoke about how a teacher had slapped me when I was just in first standard, and that stayed with me. Now, there were other examples also like this. And that's why I say the education system has to be blamed in a big way. Because the education system teaches all of the students, all of the children to have envy, to have competition, to have a sort of hatred, a very subtle form of hatred towards one another. Oh, this person scored more than me. I didn't score enough. This person did that. And there is no, education on one love or how to find true love. These are the actual things that people should know about. There is no education on how to live with nature, how to do farming, how to grow your own herbs, how to find medicines in herbs, how to get clean water via natural resources, how to get clean air, how to keep the surroundings clean, how to be independent, not be codependent. Now, these are the things that earlier in India were a part of the curriculum in the Gurukul system, which was shut down by the British people. So I'm not going to get into that. There are different channelings for that, specifically for these topics if you want to get into it. Now, in this specifically, I see that there is a divine masculine who has gone through trauma and abuse as a child. And some of the abuse was actually given to him by his own friends. Like one of his friends tried to sexually molest him. Like in a very dirty way, how, a man would go up to a heterosexual man. That too when he was still very young. He was not a grown-up boy. And he tried to tell him that, hey, you should do this with me, you should do that with me. And that kind of hurt him a lot, because he felt that he was a good friend of mine and there has to be certain boundaries, certain lines. But as a child, he did not know how to communicate that. He just thought that I'm not going to entertain this. And the guy who was basically doing all this with him, he poisoned the minds of other children and they started bullying him. This is a very big trauma, and that makes people have disbeliefs in friendships and even normal relationships like, girlfriend, love and this and that. Now there is also divine masculine, another divine masculine who had a very abusive family where the father was always beating up the mother and the child was always helpless. He could not do anything. So when you see these things as a child, it totally shuts you down from a man-woman relationship. Because first of all, your job becomes to protect your mother. You grow up trying to protect your mother. And it's like a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. And then if the mother, who he has so much love for, faith for, so much protectiveness for, if the same mother says, I don't like this girl, it can become very difficult for him to cope up with that. But his problem is communication. He just cannot tell the mother that, look, mother, I am grown up enough, I am mature enough. If anything bad also happens to me, I shall face the consequences and I would be strong enough to face the consequences. And no one is perfect, no girl is perfect. Even the girl that you will find for me, she may not be perfect. And it's not important that, you like someone and I should also like that person, because the soul connection is very important. And he cannot tell the mother that just because you did not have a great relationship, that does not mean that I will also have that. So everyone is playing their part. Even the mother is playing that part because she is living in a fear-based energy. So he cannot talk all of this with the divine feminine because he already has a fear of rejection. He already has a fear of man-woman relationship. He already is scared of sexual intimacy because whenever he gets intimate with any woman, he probably did not have a good experience, or because he's not giving fully to anyone. So if you're not going to give fully to anyone, you cannot really have a great relationship with anyone for that matter. And then you would keep on thinking that I am the person who has some fault in me. There is something wrong in me. So these are the things that only therapies and healing sessions can heal, because the healer or the therapist who has to be into this journey, who has to be in a spiritual ascension journey. If someone reads a few books and gets a degree in psychology, they won't be able to help these kind of cases. And that's the reason why there is a problem, that a lot of twin flamers cannot go to a regular psychologist or a regular therapist because they don't understand this whole spiritual intensity that is present in them since childhood. If someone tells, like a person like Meera, whose story I have shared in another channeling also. Meera was in love with Krishna since she was a child. She was a little girl and she always thought that he was my husband. He is my husband. Krishna is my husband. When she grew up, she got married to another guy, obviously a human being. But she realized that, my marriage with Krishna is a soul marriage, and my marriage with this person, my husband, is a bodily marriage. It's a marriage for this world. But throughout her life, Meera's biggest struggle, and the reason why she was given poison by her own family members, and she was a princess, and then she became a queen. So it was not like she was a regular woman. Imagine what must have been the state of women in that time. These are all ancestral karmic debts. These are all societal debts. These are all country debts that we all also have. So being Meera, being a spiritual person who was in love with Krishna, who would sing songs of Krishna, who would dance on the streets with poor people, she had to always constantly prove herself that she is not doing anything wrong. By being a spiritual person, she is not doing something wrong. Because spiritual people don't have these boundaries like age, even gender for that matter. If you're a spiritual person, you're not gonna be thinking when you're talking to a woman, for example, you're a man, and you meet a friend who's also into some spirituality, and there's a soul connection. You go and hang out with them, talk to them, and someone comes up and says, oh, you're talking to that chick. Oh, really? Like, so what are you discussing? You're talking about God. Things like that. People make fun of those things. It has happened with me. I have many friends who are probably guys, and they are in spiritual ascension journey. Now, for an outsider, it could be like, oh, she's hanging out with a guy. A guy has come and stayed in her house for 2 days or 3 days with her family. Maybe something serious is going on. But if you ask me, he is my soul brother. He is another co-traveler who was on the journey and who came to visit me. I know his whole life because he has shared everything to me about his life, and so have I. Because people on the spiritual journey, they don't have these stupid notions. That's why they cannot date a regular person, because for a regular person, it's always about earning money, settling down, paying the bills, showing off to the world. Everything that people do. Today I was thinking the same thing when this channeling came to me. Interestingly, the channeling came to me with the word living room. At first, I really could not understand. I said, what is living room? Then I went inside my living room and I sat inside my living room. And then suddenly the thought started coming to me that if you were in a living room, if this was your living room, how you get to design it, like on your own, what would you have in this living room? I started thinking, first of all, I'm going to remove this sofa. I'm going to remove this type of table. I'm going to make a living room which will be good for me, which will be very comfortable for me. Like, I would like to have a theater. I would like a nice screen over there, and I would like to have some nice comfortable chairs which can be converted into a bed, and I won't have all of this extra furniture. And I started thinking that this furniture may be very uncomfortable. It may not be very useful for the people in the house, but this living room, and all living rooms, are normally designed for other people. when other people come to your house, which may not be so frequent, or when they come, there's always going to be some space issues. So you would be pushing in some chairs, or you would be pushing out some tables and things like that. It happens in all households. But we don't design our living rooms or our living spaces to suit our comfort zone. We design them to how in a way that how they would look to other people. Like if some guests come over, or if some neighbors come to see your house, what would they see, and how the furniture is, what type of car do you have. So this word living room then started taking me to all the areas, and then it showed me that attention, how is attention connected with this, is that the divine masculine is also feeling very trapped in the materialistic world, where he has to please everyone. It's like he wants to have a house, he wants to have a living space with the divine feminine, but he has been forced to design it according to other people's likes and dislikes. But with the inner work that the divine feminine does, it will have a huge, in fact, it will have 100% impact on the divine masculine. Now, some of you would be thinking that, so the divine masculine literally does nothing. He just sits there, and first he's mean, then he becomes very nice. Wow, that is so simple. Yes, it is as simple as that, because you are the two equal halves of the same soul. One person carries the masculine template, the other person carries the feminine template, and the feminine template has their own things to do, and the masculine has their own things to do. When the inner work goes on becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, situations are thrown at the divine masculine, who has to practically experience all of this. And I'm being shown that 100% this will happen. 100% he will be completely dedicated to the feminine, completely dedicated, completely loyal. And I want to give you the example of Lord Shiva and Shakti. And Shiva and Shakti is actually the English name of twin flames. Shiv Shakti, Ardhanareshwar is the English version of twin flames. Alright? Even twin flames, if you look at the word twin flame, flame means the light. Two lights. Same lights. Okay? Same flame. And that is how Shiv Shakti energy is also seen. It's like a fire. So, what happened with Shiva was that Shiva, being the divine masculine, the one who had masculine template, after he got into separation with Sati, and we are living in this life. Imagine, for Shiva, Sati actually passed over. She died. She committed suicide. So you can say the separation was, one of them was a fallen angel. Separation was life and death. And still Shiva went deep into meditation, and he had to distract himself from the pain. So initially it was distraction from the pain. So he put his attention he started doing focused attention, and he had to heal. But it was not that only he was healing. Sati was being reborn as Parvati. When she was reborn as Parvati, she had the curses. So all of you divine feminines, you have ancestral curses. That's why the ancestral curses need to be healed. When you have these curses are passed on from one person to another through the form of DNA. So when this DNA is transferred to you, it's given to you, you will start thinking that I am born in a way that love is not for me. I don't deserve to be loved. I will never get true love. True love is not for me. These are the thoughts these are the messages, these are the signals. So everything that you receive in your head is actually an affirmation. It's a symbol. It's a sign. It's a communication. So it's like the message is stored in your DNA. It can be stored in any form, but you receive it like a voice in your head, like an affirmation, which tells you, like, you can't do this. You're not good enough. This is not for you. Blah, blah, blah. But you, with the inner work, have to track that voice. Where is that voice coming from? Who is the person who said this to me? Where did I learn it from? Did I learn it in the school? Did I learn it in my classroom? Did I learn it with my friends? Did I learn it in the neighborhood? So on and so forth. So that's why inner work is very important, and focused attention is very important. So when the divine feminine learns focused attention, then the divine masculine's attention automatically falls on the divine feminine. I have few more points to add on to this, so I'm going to end the part 3 over here, and I will meet you again in part 4. One love and peace out.